Hello everyone, Maxime here. In this video I'm going to show you the games I played during September. I played a lot of very good games and let's just jump right into it. First game I want to talk about is Stars of Akarios. So Stars of Akarios is a Kickstarter I received. It's a game about space exploration and mainly space combat. It's a story-driven game. I played through the prologue, which is already a bunch of missions, and I'm in Act 1 now. There are 3 acts total, so I've long away from finishing the game. Actually, my play sheet is right here. As you can see, there is a lot of different missions, and it goes up to 142, and I am at mission 16. So yeah, long way to go. I don't know if I will ever finish this, but I'm enjoying this so far. It's really fun. So how does it work? Well, the first thing you do in Stars of Akarios is that you are basically doing space combat. How does it work? It's on a grid like this here, and here they're just showing off the miniatures, but just to see the grids is gonna be like this, and they're gonna be like maybe asteroids on some areas. They're gonna be maybe some nebulas, and there might be some planets that block your way. And how is it played? Well, you're having 1 or 2 ships. I play with 2 ships right now, and the enemy is gonna pop up. They have an AI deck. They're gonna attack you in certain ways. It's a dice-driven game, so you have a set of dice, and each dice has 2 movement sides, 2 attack sides, 1 joker side, and 1 stress side. The stress side is also joker side, but it increases your stress, so you might miss an attack more often because the more stress you get, the more miscuts you add to your small modifier deck. Let me show you this one here. So this is how your ships look like. You can see on the bottom left there are the basic actions. You can move straight up, you can move and turn basically, and then you have special movements here. Here they have burn and flip and jet burn, which is basically 2 different movements that you can do, that you can buy, that will get better and better over the course of the game. There is a certain amount of hull you have and a certain amount of shield. Shield regenerate. Each turn you regenerate 1 shield. Hull doesn't regenerate. And then there are your attacks that you have here on the top. And they require a certain number of dice. And they do certain special things. For example, I have 1 ship that does like an EMP. So it does very few damage, but it can hit several targets all around me. I don't need to be pointing at them. That's pretty cool. And it kind of blocks them for 1 turn there, so they can attack me for 1 turn, which is pretty cool. Otherwise, your attacks always have like a ratio, well, an area where they can hit. So for example, here, this ship has a photon blast, and it can hit anyone that is in this area. Now, depending on how your ships are turned, well, you might or might not hit your target. So, and that's very important. So how your ships are positioned is very important in this game. And then you have on the right side 4 additional possibilities. There's like I don't even remember how they're called. You have like the tax, you have the ship ability, you have the pilot ability, you might have co-pilot abilities as well that you put in the tech slot. Then you also have your main ship, which is where you're basically coming from because you're just fighter pilots, but you are part of a main ship. And it might also give you bonuses. And that's how you do. You roll the dice, you place your dice based on what you want to do. You want to move, you want to attack, and so on. And then, then the AI goes, they do the same, but with a card. So there's a card with a small AI logic, and they attack you back. And so far, in the 13, 16 missions I did, I think I did 8 space, maybe 7 space combat missions. I don't know exactly. And they were all kind of different, which is cool. In one, for example, you had to stay next to beacons. In another one, you had to, well, your main ship was slowly moving forward, and you had to protect it so that it doesn't get destroyed. It had to move all the way across. And some others are straightforward combat missions where you have normal fighters. Some they have like very heavy fighters that are coming towards you, so you have to be very careful because they hit like a truck. So yeah, it's kind of varied, and that's pretty cool. The other thing you do in this game is like, well, planet exploration or space exploration is kind of similar. So you have those cards, and then you go and discover a little bit what's there. It's a smaller part of the game. The main part is really the space combat, but it's kind of fun because you find new equipments for your space combat. You might find money, and you might increase the story. For example, well, no, I'm not gonna say anything about the story. I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, it's interesting. And I like it. The story so far, I like it a lot. I think it's pretty cool. A lot of people complain about it because they're like, yeah, you're the fighter pilot. Why are you taking decision? No, I'm not the fighter pilot. I'm not any fighter pilot. I am the fighter pilot that saved everybody's ass several times in a row. So of course I have something to say. And of course, if I say, we just follow that guy, we just do, and the captain agrees with me. That's because I'm awesome. That's how I feel, at least when I play the game. But that was a complaint from a bunch of people online. I don't care. I think it's great. That's Stars of Akarios. I rate this an 8 right now. Then I played an awesome Euro game which is called Federation. So Federation is a game designed by the people that do the Diamant d'Or, which is the French prize for the expert games every year. And it's it's a Euro game. It's a worker placement game which is kind of nice because the worker placement spot are here in the middle. It's like the Senate of the Federation of Planets, and you can place your workers, but they have two sides. One is the voting side, where you have this small dude here, and this small dude is going to give you voting power in that area. It's important for the left and right side, but it's also important for each line, because each line is going to give you points if you all have the most votes. And each side, you're going to do the sum of each side, and then one or the other yearly objective will trigger, which is very important as well. And so what's special about this is so those dual-sided workers, because the other side gives you resource and gives you the possibility to unlock some special powers on your board, and to unlock your those projects. So you increase basically the value of those projects, and if they reach the end, there will be an additional end-game scoring. So if you're really high on the red planet here, for example, yeah, you want to push this so that it's funded, this project is funded, and you might gain a bunch of victory points on that side as well. So the cool thing about this game is that it's a game where you always have to play with the others because of the voting, and the voting is super important. So for example, if I'm really high on red and another player is really high on red, and then the next year the voting is red and green, and we both are very low on green, yeah, we might ally this round because we want to have the red planet to pass so that we can get the victory points. And maybe the others, they don't want us to pass. Maybe it's going to be 2 versus 2, but maybe it's going to be one guy doesn't care because he's maybe half on red, half on green. So he doesn't want to invest anyone there. He doesn't care because he will gain points anyway. And then the last player is kind of tricky situation because he might be 1 versus 3. So, and it's always changing, because the next year it might be the opposite. The guy I allied last year with might be my enemy because maybe it's 2 different colors where I'm really high and he's really high on the other color. And you have like those 5 different colors here that are always they work all differently. So here you get plain resource. Here you do like kind of upgrades. Here you get like special bonus tiles. Here you get like small tiles that you put on your worker that replace your worker and make him more powerful. Like he gets a voting of 5, or he gives you more resource when you place him. And those are like production tiles and endgame scoring tiles. So this is how the game works. And then on your personal board, you can free additional actions with ships that you can do. So that means every time you place a worker, you can do an additional action just after that. So you do double action, which is super strong. And this shifting of alliances is super important in this game. And it's really this and the dual side workers is really what makes this game so unique, I think. Because it's rare that you have this kind of shifting of alliance in a game anyway. it's not unique in that case because other games do it, but this in combination with the dual side workers, in combination with the space team, which I always love space teams, I think it's fantastic, and I really look forward to continue playing this game because it's really great. So that's Federation. I rate this a 9 right now. Then I played another 18xx game. So 18xx games are very complex train games that are very ugly. Let me prove my point. That's how the game looks. I mean, look at Federation and then look at. But that's not the problem. That's not the point here. The point here is this game is awesome. 1846 is the second of the 18xx games that I played, and I think it's better than the previous one, Chesapeake. For me, at least, I really like it a lot. So what do you do in this game? You're shareholders of companies that you build out the train network, you connect cities, and you increase your empire uh, by getting shares and maybe getting control of a second company and buying shares from the others so that you gain more and more money. And who has the more money wins at the end of the game. What's special about this? It's all about connecting east to the west coast. So there's a lot of bonuses when connecting east to the west coast, and this gives you special bonus, and it allows you to gain more money because everything's about money in those 18xx games. I really like this one. I really like this one a lot. It was really fun. It takes forever to play. It takes like 5 hours to play, 4 or 5 hours to play, but you don't feel like you're waiting a little bit. It's just like, oh, 5 hours just passed. Well, that was great. That's how I feel when I play this game. So I really liked it. That's 1846. I also rate this a 9 right now. Looking forward to the other 18xx games that we're gonna try out because two friends of mine have a bunch of those. That's gonna be great. Then we played Bruxelles 1897. This is not an 18xx game. It's a small card game. It's a small card game where you're gonna have like cards in the middle of the table each round, and each round you're gonna kind of place your workers, and they have a certain power, a certain value. So you're gonna place your worker and get the card basically in the middle. There are different kind of cards. You can gain money, you can get material, you can get help. Well, like those dudes that help you are famous people. I don't know who they are. You can buy art and sell it then later, if there is an art show. It was kind of cool with just a small bunch of cards. It was kind of cool, kind of tricky, because then there is also, if you are the majority in a row, you get the bottom bonus, which is very important. And then once you place all your cards, so those are the cards you place, if they form a rectangle, so a square, basically, well, it's a rectangle, but a 2x2 grid. If you have the most cards in that grid, you get another special bonus, which is very important, gives you victory points. And that's how the game plays. There are some special actions, but that's how the game plays. You place your cards and you pay for them in some cases. It's a very simple game, but it was really fun actually, and very tricky. And you have to calculate, okay, if I go there, am I sure that I get the majority? If I just put my 2, maybe I need to put a bigger number, and so on. And do I want to go there? I really want to go in a specific area, but if I go there, I know he will get one of those squares with 2 presents, and he will get the points. So a lot of decision making here in just a very small game. So that was pretty cool. That's Brussels 1897, and I rate this an 8. Then we played Gears of War at work, so that was fun. So with 3 other colleagues, we played Gears of War. Gears of War is kind of a dungeon crawler game where you're like those soldiers and you're fighting off those monsters. Well, what do I like about this game is the cards you have. The cards you have represent your life basically, but they also represent the actions you're gonna do. So you always draw like a bunch of cards at the beginning of each of your round, but then when you play your cards, you basically exhaust yourself and you lose life, and then if you get hits, you need to discard cards because this is your life. The concept is kind of cool. You also have different weapons. I felt like the weapons were kind of samey. The basic weapons, at least, like 3 of the characters had exactly the same weapons, and I was the only one who had a slightly different weapon. So not so great there. It's an older game, so maybe the design is not
that advanced, but then you can, every time you kill monsters, they might drop weapons, and then those weapons can be very interesting and do more damage or higher range or something like that. It's a dice driven game, so you roll dice. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. That's just how it is. It was fun. The AI is kind of weird because we had like a very long terrain. So we started in one area, and then there were monsters everywhere. But then one of the few first cards we drew said all the monsters are like that are more than 5 away from you. They just all group up there, which was kind of like we were like scared at first, and then we were like, wait, we have grenades. We have grenades, and then we just and until basically everybody was dead, and then we start moving up all the way. We had to close a hole somewhere, and then some more popped up, and we killed them, and it was fun. Some people got shot at some point and were KO for a while, but we could heal them and bring them back up, and it was really fun actually. We had a lot of fun, a lot of rule questions. We played really slowly, it took forever. I think once we get, now that we know how the game plays, it's going to be way faster. There's also some like cover that you can see in this screenshot here. There's cover, which is very important because it reduces the chance of you getting hit by a lot because you get additional dice for defense. So that's pretty cool. So that's Gears of War, the board game. It was fun. Looking forward to play another game with the colleagues. Rate this as 7 right now. Reason I'm not rating this higher is there's no concept of leveling up, scaling up your character, so you don't get like experience or new weapons or advanced weapons or something. It's just game by game that you get stuff, but then the next game you start from scratch again, which in this kind of game is kind of weird. Usually I'm expecting like a campaign style game where you get more and more stuff and more weapons. Like I explained in Stars of Akarios, you get more and more well, you get better weapons or better movements or more shield and so on. Here I don't think there is anything like that. So it's just basically different missions. Probably they get more and more complicated, which is a different concept. But I would prefer having some sort of evolution here. But the game is fine. It was fun. That's Gears of War. Then I played Radlands. Radlands is a very small dueling card game, which I was surprised how much game there is with such few components, such few cards. So basically, everybody has starts the game with we basically, I don't know, you get like 6 cards, which are your bases, which you see at the bottom here. And you pick 3 of them and you put them at the bottom, and those are the cards you're going to start with. The base are what's unique for each character. So each character will, so each player will have 3 unique bases that can do different things. But then everything else, the main cards that you play, they come from the same deck. So there's one deck here, and everybody draws from there. And then what can you do? You get always 3 water, which is the resource in the game, every year. I think you get 3, yeah. And then what you can do, you can play some characters, you can attack. The cards are multi-use, so there's always like an icon on the top. You can use it for that icon, which could be like do 1 damage or something like that, or draw another card, or gain water, whatever. Or you can place like one of those dummy soldiers here. And then you can also play the card itself, put it into play, and it has an effect. And there is no concept of life in this game. It's just like if a character takes damage, you tap it sideways, so it's exhausted. If it gets another damage, it's gone, and that's it. That's the whole concept. And then the thing is, you are always protected if there's somebody in front of you. So your bases are kind of protected because there is somebody in front of them. That's why you put a lot of people in front of them, so to protect your bases. But the concept is the same. Once the 3 bases are destroyed, you win the game. It's really nice. It's really nice for just a small card game. I really liked it. We played only 1 game, but it took quite some time because it was back and forth, and I was almost sure that we're gonna win. And then he turned around the situation because I didn't draw what I wanted to draw. I didn't play properly. I don't know. And then finally he ended winning the game, which was pretty cool. So that's Radlands. I liked it a lot. Radlands 2-player card game. I rate as an 8. Then I played Fuchin Island. Fuchin Island is a very small, very simple card game.
which you play solo, which is basically you have those animals and you want them to eat each other. So every animal can eat basically every other animal that is 1 or 2 or 3 lower than him. Uh, and every time this happens, there is a special effect because you put them out randomly. And for example, here the 7 could eat the 6, right? Uh, but then, yeah, maybe the 8 could eat the 7. But then you have to read the text, and the text might say, yeah, then you have to move something, or you can exchange something. And this helps you because here, for example, this one, well, he can eat him, but then what? You're always getting stuck at some point, and that's where you have to find out how can I make it work. It's kind of tricky, and sometimes you have combinations that are really almost impossible. But it's a brain burner. It's a small game. You play 15 minutes. It just takes a few cards. I like those games. I like them because they're very transportable. Actually, I have them. I can show you. I have them right here, and this is what I like. It's like a very that's the game. So that's the game. It costs like less than 10 euros, and I like this. So those are the two I brought. This is Fuchinal, and the next one I'm going to talk about is Agropolis, which it's very similar to Sprawlopolis, which well, it's the same concept, exactly the same concept, different missions, but same concept. So you have those cards with always those 4 terrains, and then there might be some roads. And then every card has a separate mission in the back. So you shuffle, you pick 3 randomly, and those are your missions. And those missions will tell you what you need to do, how you can score points. And then you have to organize. You always place 1 card, you have 3 available. You place 1 card. You can place them on top, partially on top, or next to each other. And then you try to reach those many points, and that's the game. It's also a solo game. I like it. One of those very tiny games that you can bring everywhere. So I like those. So Fujian Island, I rate this a 7, and I think Agropolis, I rate this a 7 as well. I rate this Agropolis lower than Sprawlopolis because there's a little bit of confusion, and I felt like the mission were focusing on one area too much. In Sprawlopolis, I felt the missions are very diversified, but I only played 2 games, so maybe it was just bad luck or something. I don't know. But I like those as solo games. We continue to play Roleplay Adventures. Played 2 games this month. One game was great. We went to help the king, the dwarven king, I think it was, well, our king. And finally, there was like a portal opening in his bedroom. We tried to help everybody, but actually he opened the portal and he jumped into the portal. We killed every monsters there, but the monsters killed basically all the other soldiers. And then everybody thought we killed everyone, and they put us into jail. So that was fun. That mission was fun. The jail mission and the jailbreak mission was not good. I think there is some conceptual problem in that mission that make us that we actually there was like a concept of starting a riot. There was a concept of helping out the warden, and we couldn't do any of those things because of I don't know loophole in the script of that mission. So that was really shitty, and we ended up finishing the mission with we did basically nothing. We got no new items, so that was really shitty. This mission was shitty, but I think it was just maybe a loophole we fell in, and it's sad, but it's okay. The other mission was pretty great. And yeah, we're gonna continue this until we finish and see what happens with. I hope the king is gonna come back and say to everyone, "Wait, guys, no, he's a friend. Don't try to put him in jail and kill him." Let's see. That's adventure roleplay adventures. Played another game of Ark Nova. Still one of the greatest game of last year. It's a game where you build your your zoo. So you have your magnificent zoo here, and you're gonna put some animals in your zoo. You have to put some of those, I don't know where they are, those tiles here, the fences where the animals are gonna be put in, and you gain victory points based on, well, you get ticket points, basically how people like your zoo, and you get restoration points. And once those 2 tracks cross,
the game ends. There is a lot more to it. I already talked about it. I'm not going to go into detail because it's a very big game. I played this one with a friend that never played it. We had a lot of fun, and I won by 3 points. I probably am going to get so crushed the next time I play against him, but we'll see. And then with the same friend, we played. Oh, now I zoomed everything in and out. Okay, we played Spirit Island. So, Spirit Island, one of the best co-op and solo games that exists. We played with two very simple spirits. Well, they're not simple. They're easy to play, let's say. And we managed to win, which was cool because he played it solo a few times and he didn't manage to win. So I show him how it's done. Basically, burn everything down. That always works. Because I was the burning spirit and he was the water spirit, which is very slow. But then I have the power that says all his stuff is fast and it changes the game completely. And that's the power of Spirit Line as well, is that combining spirits together can give you a lot of cool things. And it's a great game. Spirit Island, rate is a 10. Ark Nova, I rate this a 9. I forgot to say. Moving on, we played Teotihuacan. Teotihuacan is, I just said it twice in a row, is a great game about, where's the image? It's right here. So Teotihuacan is a dice placement game where you're gonna build this pyramid and decorate it and move up some tracks and gain a bunch of victory points. It's a classic Euro game where you get victory points in the 10 different places, but it's really, really fun. And how does it work? You have those dice and you can always move them 1, 2, 3, and then you're on this spot and then you can do things based on how many people are already there. You might have additional costs, and based on how many people of you are or other of your dice is already there, the power of the action will be increased. So if he moves this one here, he will have 3 dice, so he will have a level 3 power action, which is really strong. But it's not easy to get, and the value of the dice is also important. So number of the dice, the value of the dice is important. It's awesome. This game is great. I really like it. We haven't played it for a long time. We played with an extension, which was pretty cool. We each had special powers. It was a really good game. I had a lot of fun in this. So that's Teotihuacan. I rate this an 8. We played Underwater Cities. Underwater Cities is still one of my favorite games. It's a worker placement game with cards. So you have cards that are, each card is either green, red, or orange. And every time you want to place one of your workers in one of those areas, you need to have a card. If you have a card of that color, then you play the card in addition to get both bonuses, which is pretty cool. And then what you're going to do on your personal board, you're going to build an underwater city. And how does it work? Well, you can build cities, you can build different kind of buildings that produce resources. You have to build roads. You can connect those special tiles on the sides. You have special mission cards that you are in the middle of the board that you can pick, and they will get you a victory point at the end of the game. Also, very Eurogamey style where you can get victory points a little bit everywhere. It's a lot of fun. I like it. I won by 3 points, and I would deserve my win. Then we played another game of Fantasy Realms to just show it to a friend. I still love this game. It's great, it's fast, and everybody should play it at least once in his life. I showed the Isle of Cats to another friend that never played it. We also liked it. I played with my wife and a friend of mine, and my wife was happy that she beat him. I won, of course. That was a lot of fun. I go really fast through those games because I mentioned them 100 times already. And Marvel Champions, still great. I played only one game this month, which was pretty sad. I think I played this even alone because my son has so much activities that he has no time to play with me, which is super sad. Well, he played with me already because we're already in the next month and we played a bunch of games already, which is great. So that was the month of September. Looking forward for next month. I'm not sure I will have so many games to show next month because
A lot of things going on. I was sick and half month is already gone and I haven't played much. So let's see. I wish you all a nice month and see you in the next one.